Good morning, class. For our lecture for today, we will be talking about the format for your practical research one or the qualitative research. Let me just share my slide to everyone. So you can see here, this will just take a few minutes on presenting the actual format for your research. So there are actually two things: the proposal, which will be submitted during your midterms, and uh, the latter part would be for the finals, which is the final paper. Now, in the proposal, you will be able to see here the important areas that you will be considering, which should be the title page and the table of contents. The title page and the table of contents, you will have to do that later on, so you need not worry about it. So we begin with the proposal. Again, this is the submission will be in the midterms, will be chapter one. We talk about the problem. So it is necessary that you put everything into the future tense. Yung will be, ganyan. Now, this would include the following. So you would have your introduction, which would have a format, which will be talked about later on, a general statement about the problem and what the study is all about. Now, the format has there's a five paragraph format, which would contain the context, the content, the contrast, the aim, and the approach that you'll be using. So later on, when you do your introduction, I will have to check each of the component. Then we have the background of the study. You have to provide an overview of the issues and problems and new developments that leads to the inception of your topic and the overall purpose and rationale for its selection based on the preliminary investigation or the relevant literature. So this would include a clear delineation of the field of study that leads to a clear statement of the problem. The third is the statement of the problem. We'll be teaching you very soon on how you're going to be able to compose or create your statement of a problem. By the very word itself, it says statement. So I should be able to see really just a statement. Hypothesis. Normally, a hypothesis is for quantitative. Now, the hypothesis later on should later on be um, proven. And this is for the quantitative study. So need not be able to put your hypothesis in your qualitative research. You will have the significance of the study, uh, the significance of the study to the community, let's say to the students, to a certain government agency, to the parents, in particular, the significance of your study to a particular group, persons, or individuals. Then you'll have to state your scope and delimitation definition of terms. Now, the significance, scope, delimitation, and definition of terms, you may be able to do this or create this later on. Ang mahalaga with your chapter 1 would be your introduction, the background, and the statement of the problem. Then we move immediately to chapter 2, which is the review of related literature. Sabi nila how many pages, but this would really depend. 10 to 15 pages. Usually this is double space. Again, there's a note here that says written in the future tense. So contents arranged by themes. It's like reading a story with, let's say, the first part of the story, the middle part, the body itself, and later on the concluding part. So themes meaning you will have to group all together what you will be getting in your literature, all those similar thoughts, ideas of the authors in one theme. And there would be probably a separate theme for contrasting ideas. And you will have to come up with a summary of your RRL. This would just be 1 or 2 pages. It's not just a summary, but this would include the research gaps, what the literature is not saying. And of course, the theoretical and conceptual framework. The theoretical framework, of course, you talk about theories. What are the theories that is connected to your study? You could probably explain 2 or 3 theories, and another paragraph would be the connection of all those theories to your study. And then the conceptual framework would be the actual processes There are certain formats that you will have to follow in a case study. There's the IPO process, the input, uh, the process, and the actual output. And then you have chapter 3, the methodology. This would include description of the parts in the following order. So you'll have to explain your research design, which is qualitative. Then you have to cite a description of that qualitative research that you'll be doing, case study ba yan, phenomenology, ethnography, or grounded theory. And then you have to explain or show to the readers the locale of the study. Where have you conducted or where will you conduct your study? Participants, you have to describe your participants, how they were selected, and the sampling technique that you will be using since you are doing qualitative research. Um, Normally, it is purposive sampling technique. So in the participants, you have to explain your sampling technique, purposive with citation. And then you have the instruments. Uh, what instruments are you going to be able to use? But normally this is for quantitative research. And then the data gathering procedure, the step one, you will seek permission from your advisor, then the principal, and so forth. And then the data gathering procedure, you will have to create a table. The first column would be your research question. The second column will have to be um, the actual instruments that you're going to be able to use. And then the data analysis procedures to be used. Normally, you will be doing a thematic analysis. Then you have to look for a citation of what thematic analysis is all about. And then the ethical consideration, this is normally two to three paragraphs of the ethical considerations that you have to be doing uh, for your study to really move on, permission from your participants. And then of course, the references must be included. So that's how you do your actual proposal for chapters 1 and 2. Okay. The samples will be giving you samples when we have our face-to-face classes. And then for the final paper, so that we include as a final part, no, chapters 1, 2, then 4 and 5. The final paper, I will have to see the editing sheet, the approval sheet, the abstract, written in the past tense since it's already finished, the acknowledgement, the title page, table of contents, the table of tables and figures. All of this later on would have to be finished towards the end. Then again, in chapter 1 mo, okay, chapter 2, chapter 3, and then chapter 4 would be the results, analysis, and discussion that would include parts in the following order. So meron kang presentation of the findings, okay, the answering the research questions that you have created. Okay, so from the research question, you can from the research question would be the themes. The themes you have to be able to explain kung ano yung themes na nakuha mo in answer question number 1. Then you can have the direct quotations from your participants, and then towards the end you will have to look for citations to prove your point that indeed the direct quotation and the themes are actually true. And then chapter 5 would be the summary of the findings and conclusions and the recommendations. So you will have to put also, again, your references, the appendices, okay? Ito yung mga tables, ganyan. And you'll have to be able to put your updated curriculum vitae. So you have to take note that the paper is written in the APA style, the 7th edition. You don't have to worry about this, and kasi I think there is a separate video that explains you what an APA style is, and we'll be able to teach you furthermore on how to be able to do the APA style. So in the proposal that includes chapters 1, 2, and 3, then list all in-text citations in the references. We'll talk about in-text citations later on in another discussion. And in the final paper, includes all parts from chapters 1 to the curriculum vitae written in the past tense. List in-text citations in the references. So again, this would be the actual format for the thesis or your research on the practical research 1, qualitative research. So further questions, when we have our face-to-face, you can ask questions, and we'll be able to talk about this one in details later on. So I think that's it for our class or this meeting. So please do not forget to do the activity that was assigned for you to be submitted next meeting. Thank you very much and have a good day, everyone. Bye.